Knowing that you'll respect them in the morning with intelligent talk that stimulates.
Welcome back to our Picking Up the Pieces segment. So glad that you are with us. This is Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio Inside the News with Frank Vernuccio, Ben Brunson, and myself, Guy Wehman. Okay, Ben, the economy. With the coronavirus on another surge and people are being laid off again. They might have been rehired for a time, but now there's some layoffs going on. I just heard about some recently here that this is not a good sign, and now Congress is going to be forced. Are they going to go back to the well again and do more stimulus checks, more PP? I mean, what's going on here, Ben? Because this is dangerous with California shutting down. Will we go on lockdown again? Florida's close. DeSantis doesn't want to do it, but Florida is very close. Ben, go.
Well, we're on the knife's edge one way or the other at this point. While Disney is opening up Disney World in Orlando this week, despite the numbers of COVID infections being quite large in Florida. So there is still a push to open up the economy. On the other hand, as you mentioned, you have Gavin Newsom in California going the opposite direction right now, and seems to be heading towards a full lockdown. There will probably be more stimulus if that's the case. There'll be an extension or repeat of the payments that went out to qualifying taxpayers based on income. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets repeated. There may be an extension or more added on to the PPP loan program, more money devoted to that, so that you can get another round of PPP loans to help support payrolls. All that's on the table if we go back into a lockdown. It's really unnecessary. Sweden has showed us that. The science supports it. We have to protect the vulnerable. They need to stay in lockdown. Yes, one segment of this country must stay in lockdown and pretty total lockdown. I can't visit my father, for instance, because his community is completely locked down. But we can open up the economy. We just had a report that the federal budget deficit in a single month, I believe it was May, but it may have been an earlier month, was almost $1 trillion for the month, $840 billion. So this cannot continue. We cannot continue to go the path of lockdown. And I think the president is going to do everything in his power to reopen the economy.
You know something, Frank, it is a dangerous path. You know, do you go back on lockdown or don't you? And they want to get the schools started up again. And you, about 3 weeks ago, on your hot button topic, you said Major League Baseball is back. And we were all cheering that. And it sounded great, but now maybe not so great and things of that nature. And we're talking about schools starting up, and will the school sports get going again? I was thinking the other day, what about band? They blow air through those instruments and everything else, and there's going to be a lot of close contact in band. And if you have distancing in a classroom, they still have to walk through the hallways to go to a cafeteria. So how do you distance all of that with hundreds of kids?
Well, the answer, of course, is you can't. And we have to decide whether to completely close down the economy until a vaccine is discovered, or to try to develop herd immunity. Now, look, it's very easy for a government official with a guaranteed paycheck to say, shut down the economy. I leave the mega economics to Ben. He's our financial pro on the large scale, but I deal with a number of small business associations. And I can tell you honestly that they represent, in many cases, 40% of job growth in the American economy. They cannot survive another significant lockdown. We are already seeing a number of them who cannot reopen again. It's easy to say, let's lock down everything until this thing is completely cured, the vaccine is out there, but then you will have literally lost the American economy. And in terms of these stimulus checks and stimulus programs, well, later this week, I'm going to be visiting my 5-year-old, 2-year-old, and 1-year-old grandchildren, and I'm going to have to break the bad news to them that they're going to have to forego that new car or that vacation 25 years from now, because they're going to still be paying the federal debt out of all these stimulus programs. The only stimulus program that makes sense is to get this economy open and moving again.
All right, our mega economist there. You have about 30 seconds. Ben, put a cap on this.
Well, Frank summed it up quite well. We cannot afford to go back into lockdown. It's going to toss this country into a depression, and it is a purely man-made depression. It's wrecking our finances at the government level, at the private level. All of the advances in terms of balance sheet corrections that have occurred since 2008 are all being undone by this. And it makes no sense. There are economies like Sweden that have shown you can stay open and it works. We have to be one of those economies.
All right, this is Inside the News. We have to take a time out. You're watching us on AUN TV and our radio affiliates across the country. Thank you so much. We'll be back.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.